Hi, this is Tom. Welcome to my channel. Well, after quite a lot of days in November of frustration trying to get some things to work with ChatGPT, and I guess I should start out by mentioning this is another new series of videos that's dealing with how to use ChatGPT to do um, Midjourney prompts. And um, I spent a lot of time trying to get uh, certain strategies to work, and then have had some nice luck in the last couple of days, and want to share something with you that has worked really well and is pretty straightforward and simple to use. And I'll get into the specifics in a little bit. But first, I'll show some images that Midjourney generated from some really simple prompts that I think are quite pretty. And what I did for these was I gave um, ChatGPT an example prompt to work with, and then it used that prompt to come up with other prompts that were like the example one I gave. And this one, I gave it the type of prompt to use, which is a structure like what you can see here in the upper right, and told it, let me let me turn myself off for a bit here. Okay, let's see. There. All right. So I'm not obstructing the image. So it follows this structure here, and I told it the theme was London. And so these are quite nice. And then uh, th this one is hilarious because the theme is Trafalgar Square, but I guess because it had the name Renoir as the artist, it put an Eiffel Tower in there. And there's another one. That looks like an Eiffel Tower too, doesn't it? Bustling Trafalgar Square. When one thinks of Trafalgar Square, one thinks of the Eiffel Tower. It's a pretty picture. Okay, here this looks more like it. Uh, so I guess maybe be kind of interesting to know how it works because Monet actually did quite a lot of work in London, so maybe that makes it easier for the bot to do those sorts of things. Okay, let's go to the script, and I'll turn myself back on because I don't think I'll be in the way of the script. Okay, so this is a response of ChatGPT to the script, and this is the script up here. And I'll be making this available on my blog. And what this is this is basically a shell. And the shell has the instructions which make the magic happen and one option to start with. So the basic premise of the process is that you can add option modules to the script, where each option module is based on a new prompt. So the way it works is you find some prompt that you like, and you give it to uh, ChatGPT in the process of the script, and it will create an option module for that prompt. And then once it has that option module, then you can ask for example prompts or just Midjourney prompts that are in structure and form like the one that you gave to it. And then you can just keep adding these option modules to your heart's content to the script. So now it starts with one option because one option, well, I'll use the terms option and option module interchangeably. An option is just what you would think of as an option, one, two, three, four, five, however many options there are. And by an option module, what I mean is basically a chunk of code that's in terms of like conception is like a module that you just can add. You can add this chunk of code. You can just insert it into the script, and then it'll have one more option. And you just keep adding more and more options as you like, and you don't change any of the rest of the script. All you do is ask ChatGPT to construct the option module, then you grab it and you put it in the script. Now, at the present time, ChatGPT has a humongous context window when it comes to inputting, meaning that you can give it hundreds of pages, over 300 pages of a normal book. You could give it as input, and it would accept that input, but it's extremely limited in terms of output. And so that's the reason for doing it yourself rather than having it to do it. And I expect that, I mean, there is such a disconnect between how much input and output it can do. I'm expecting that they'll update that functionality relatively soon. Well, there's a couple of ways that this disconnect could be resolved. So one way would be if it just increase the capacity of ChatGPT to output. And from my conversations with ChatGPT about how it works, it appears that this is completely based on limitations that OpenAI builds into the architecture of it. And I'm not sure what the rationale is for it, but I'm sure they have some reason for why they limit the output. I mean, one possibility that comes to mind is it might be kind of glitchy. So, because there's times where I'll get lots of, network type errors, and it could be to try to limit that kind of crashing from happening by limiting the amount of the output. That's just a guess, pure guess. But that's one way that it could rectify the disconnect between the difference between the output and the input. And then another way would be to enable reading and writing to the files, to your file system. And I suspect that the reason that they don't allow that is because it's too dangerous. I guess if it gets in the wrong hands. But I would think that they would be able to work out the security for that to where, you can give it permission to your file system. I'm sure that um, there's already AI that does that. It's just not through OpenAI, but it would be through other means, types of applications, for example, that developers have done. Um, and the same thing with database manipulation. I'm sure that sort of thing is going on. But um, so at some point, I was either OpenAI or Microsoft will be, um, maybe Microsoft will do it first because they're already working with having having AI as a part of their Windows updates. So since they already have a lot of stuff that deals with security and interacting with your file system, um, that seems like a logical possibility. But anyway, let me kind of get back to where I was, which was for the time being, it's practical to just insert it into the script yourself. And I put in a tag which says insert additional option modules here. And so you can just put in the option model that it creates for you right above there in the script. Okay, so this is the output of the script. And I had another YouTube video where I've talked about using this approach for a user manual. And it's a short video, it's only about 5 minutes long. And it goes to how to make that work, which is the idea is that rather than specifying in a static way what the user manual should be, well, actually, I'll just show you what the instructions are. it says, this might be a little hard to read. I can make it easier to read just by coming down here and making the font larger. So that's this part here. So okay, here we go. So I'll do this as quickly as I can since I already have another video on this. But just to show the underlying principle, it says, begin the session by introducing, here's the user manual to explain the workflow. The manual will concisely explain how to interact with the session, providing a clear answer to how does this work. Utilize the internally scripted information for the user manual for each option to inform the content of the user manual. Detail each step of the process clearly, and it goes on. So the basic idea is rather than outputting explicitly what the user manual would be, you give ChatGPT instructions to interrogate the script itself. And these instructions go at the very bottom of the script. And the reason for that is that ChatGPT likes to process from sequentially from the top of the script down. So you put this information to output the user manual at the very bottom of the script after it's already read all of the script, so it knows how it works. And you're basically just telling it, how does this work? Analyze how it works, output how it works. And the rest of it is just some instructions to make sure that it formats correctly. But that's a really nice idea to keep it dynamic, because by having it interrogate how the script works, you don't have to output the user manual. And then in the option modules itself, it has information about how for the user manual, about how each option module works. And then it knows to read those things to get information about how to output the user manual. And those user manual hints, if you want to call them, are written by ChatGPT itself when it builds the option module. So that's a way of the system working without your having to, as a user, having to tweak it yourself. Just try to make it as much of a cookie cutter approach as possible. Okay, and so that's when it output this, it output this output by using the strategy that I just outlined. So it has an overview of options. And so since this is the shell, I only put one option in. And I found that this worked best by having one option already in there, to where I can just have it clone the other options based on that one that's in there, rather than having it figure out, or not figure out, but telling it how to write the instructions for that option. And this is an insight that really helped in this whole process working, because I was wanting to have a process that was like this, to where it's an interactive system, to where you can use it to generate more and more Midjourney prompts based on an idea that you have. And I found I've actually used this sort of idea I've used many times in the past, but I hadn't thought about it specifically in this context. But the idea is that a simple idea would be, say that you have a blog post. I wonder if I have one here. I might have one here. This is November. All right, so I should. I might. Let's try real quick. So let's see. So let me go back a second. And all right, here we go. Whoops, this is what I want right here. All right, so this is a blog post that I liked a lot. So this has images about Paris. And a neat way of looking at these is you can click on the image itself and then make a slideshow out of it if you go to the blog. And so these are a number of prompts featuring Paris, and you can see that they have a lot of different um, different types of artwork. So this looks like a watercolor. This is some abstract thing. Like, this looks like maybe Art Nouveau, um, and this is uh, some some sort of painting. Um, this is an older style, um, and this is even older yet. This is like a Dali style. Notice how it has two Eiffel Towers in it. It likes to do that. And then this is uh, seems like I ought to be able to recognize this, but I'm not positive what this is. Looks like maybe it's a Monet type of. Um, it's impressionistic or post-impressionistic is what it looks like to me. All right. So I'm kind of curious as to what it is. So let me actually go into. So this is, oh, it's expressionism. Okay, interesting. And Emily Carr. All right, so this is Dali surrealism, Rococo, Jean-Antoine Watteau, don't know him. Realism, Mordecai Ardon, I don't know him either. Uh, Henri Rousseau, okay, that one I know. Post-impressionism, and what was this one? Cubism. Oh, doesn't really look. I don't know. I can kind of see that there, but you can definitely see it's got a different look to it. And this was the more modern one, and then this was Fauvism watercolor. Okay, anyway, the point that I wanted to get to is what you can do here is you can just copy and paste this whole thing um, and feed it to ChatGPT, and I can just tell it because when you copy and paste it, it won't put in the images in the ChatGPT prompt box. It'll just put in, this stuff here, and even though this won't mean anything to it, it won't matter. Um, it'll recognize the prompts, or you could help it. You could just tell it, ignore the meta stuff, just concentrate on the prompts. But the thing is, you can just give it this, and you can tell it, um, make similar prompts, but just for London instead of Paris. And it's smart enough it'll give you this same collection of prompts. So once you get, uh, and I like doing this sort of thing a lot. Once you get I like building suites of prompts on a theme. A lot of times I do cities. That seems to make a really nice one. But you could do a country, um, or whatever you think of that would make a nice theme. And once you get a group that you like, ChatGPT is smart enough to where you just give it a bunch of prompts and you say, uh, make another collection of prompts, but instead of Paris, make it London. And that technique is really easy and works really well. And that was kind of uh, an idea that motivated for using the same approach if we're giving it one option module to start with, which is option one. And then here it explains how to add the new options. And then it has instructions for use, which is you either choose the existing option or you say you want to add an option. So I said, please add a new option. And I said, using uh, this as an example prompt. Impressionism, Monet, Golden Hour, The Beach in Autumn, Serene. Okay, so it did that, and it added the option module, and it told me it told me please insert this option module into your script immediately above the placeholder. Insert additional option module here. So I have my shell here. Okay, revised Midjourney Prompt Builder Shell version 1. Okay. And then all I do is I'll take this shell and copy it, and then where it has the tag right here, beginning of, whoops, not there, um, right here. So let me go ahead and make this larger too. All right. So right above this tag here, I just put in uh, I put in the, I'm sorry, this isn't quite right because this is the instructions. This is user manual instructions. This is where it is, right here. Okay, so you would just put the new option module right above this tag here. And you can see here's option module 1, all right? And then here's the closure of the module, all right? And then it'll cookie cut a module 2 that'll look just like this, only it's option module 2 instead of 1, and it goes right here above this tag, and then you can just keep adding option modules to that. All right. So what I wanted to show here is something really I think is just really neat, and that is I said continue with the option module added. All right. So what this means is what I can do is for my own record keeping. Okay, so if I want to reuse this script, which has all of the option modules in it that I add to it, I can copy and paste, and save it and reuse the script. Or another way you could do this is you just give it this instruction. You're continuing with the option module added, and because it has this, humongous context window of 128,000 tokens, it has this in memory. So it's inserting it itself, this option module. So now it has this additional capacity to do option module 2. And so it did that. And it told me. So it did that. And the cool thing, this is a really neat thing about ChatGPT, is like when it's working, it can be really frustrating to get the stuff to work. But once you get it to work, it can be super cool. This stuff that it's doing right now, I did not program it to do this. It's just doing it. It has the context to guess, what I would want it to do. And so it added, I didn't even know that. I thought there was a good chance this would work, but I didn't know it would work. But I thought, okay, I'll go ahead and try it. And so I just continue with the option module added, and it just inserted it, in its memory of the context of what's going on, put it in there, and it told me, okay, here's the 2 options now, even though I didn't tell it to tell me that. It just did it. And so now I've got the 2 options, okay, and I told it I wanted option 2, and I told it the theme was London. So the first batch I did was based on Paris, and then I did a new batch for London, and those were the images that I showed you at the beginning of this video. So it output these images, and these were too limited, then not what I wanted, because these are all Impressionism and Monet. So I said, let's rewrite option 2 a bit. Keep it just the way it is, except that after the first prompt is given, which is Monet, the next, spelled 2 wrong, the next 2 artists can be either artists, which embody, can be other artists, which embody Impressionism. So the first 3 prompts, so the first of the 3 prompts is Monet, and the next 2 are someone else. Write out the new option module 2, please. Okay, and so it did that. And I would say that this is a good step to have, is to actually have it write it out, even though it doesn't necessarily, need to, well, it shouldn't theoretically necessarily need to have to do this, but in practice, you should do it. You should have it output it, rather just than have it, internally keep it in its head, so to speak. Okay, so it output it, and it's telling me that I can insert this instead of the other one. And then I said, continue with this new option module as option 2. And then it did that, and it did exactly what I wanted. And it gave me the prompts the way that I wanted, because you can see now it's got Impressionism, Monet, and it's got Renoir and Pissarro. And so you can use this as an interactive way of just doing, whatever you want. With ChatGPT giving you Midjourney prompts, and either save them or not as you wish. So I could just go to however you like to get prompts. Go to the Discord server or go to the Midjourney webpage, or maybe prompts that you already have that you like, that you have saved. Give it to the ChatGPT. It'll make this new option module for it, and you could either use it in the session itself and just have it do everything and remember it, or you can copy and paste it and save it in the script, and then in a new session, you could go ahead and use that to start the session, and then you could add modules, to that session as you wish. Well, I thought this was a really cool technique, and I'd like to build another version of this. I've got two versions now. I've got a previous version that does prompts that are based on uploading an image. Now that one doesn't have this functionality where you can add the modules like this one does, but it has you can do it yourself. You could just look at the script, and it has the same sort of architecture to it, and then add functionality to the script yourself. Maybe I'll go back and retrofit it so it has the same sort of structure to it. But the next thing that I'd like to do actually is to come up with a similar script where you upload an image and a style code, because I think that would be a really nice feature to have. Okay, well, thanks for watching my video, and until next time.